I'd like to call the meeting to order. All board members are present. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to have a couple special presentations this morning, or this evening. First, we're going to have Youth and Government presentation. I think Tony's going to introduce the group.
Yes, good evening, Superintendent Dittberner and School Board. We're very excited to have two different groups with us tonight, and there's always a lot of wonderful things going on within the school district. We were scheduled for a month or so ago, and we had that snowstorm, so they're very much anticipating tonight, and I'm very excited to be here. To my left here, I want to introduce a 19-year veteran of the New Prague High School, and that's Jen Seiler. And we're very excited to have her and her students. I want to just read just a little snippet to show you the excitement and the wonderful people that we have working on our staff in the high school, and Jen, of course, is one of them. This was just a little something that she wrote to the high school administration, myself, and I can't remember, maybe Mr. Dittberner was on there too. Youth and government is what we're going to talk about tonight, and this is what she wrote when she returned. We just returned from the 2018 Youth and Government Conference held Thursday through Sunday in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Our students were amazing. We have some amazing leaders in this program. Taylor Vidstant was the governor's chief of staff. Isaac Jurek served in the governor's cabinet. Joe Taylor was a vice chair for a Senate committee. Also, Joe's bill on private pilot aviation safety made it all the way to the governor's desk and was signed by the governor. Hannah Orr was a trial court judge. I am so proud of this group of 42 kids, our largest delegation ever. They were prepared and professional, energetic, and inclusive. And we can say all the nice things we want about those 42 kids, but without Jen and her hard work, I'm quite certain they wouldn't have gotten that far, and that's why we have these students here today. So I'm going to let Jen introduce them, and we'll have the three students come up here, and they will give a nice little presentation about youth and government. Jen?
Well, thank you for inviting us here. I didn't know you were going to read that email, but I absolutely am thrilled every time I come back from that conference. It's so refreshing to see these future leaders in action. And so thank you for inviting us to give a little plug about a program that I'm so passionate about and I truly believe makes a difference every single year. I also have to thank our district for our support. Compared to a lot of the districts, we have a lot of support for youth in government that operates in the red, but is still supported because it's a lifelong value above and beyond the monetary value. So I brought 3 loyal YIG participants with me to, number 1, share a little bit about what YIG is, and number 2, to share a little bit about the value of the program to them personally.
Right there. All right, well, hello everyone. My name is Taylor Vidston. I'm a senior at the high school, and I've been a participant in youth and government for 4 years.
My name is Jewel Luco. I'm a senior at the high school. I'm the vice president of our delegation. I've also been a participant for 4 years.
My name is Aiden Gaines. I am a sophomore at the high school. I'm the the president-elect for next year, and this is my second year in YIG.
All right, so a little bit about what youth in government is. Their motto is democracy must be learned by each generation. So youth in government is just a program to encourage youth leadership and civic participation through a conference held in January every year at the Capitol and a hotel in Minneapolis. And we just practice our state government and kind of do a fake version of our state government.
Yeah.
So then our first program area that is in youth and government is the legislature. So the program is divided into multiple houses and senates, and there each student will write a bill on something they're passionate about that they would like to see as a law in the state of Minnesota, and we'll present that first at a committee and then in their House or Senate chambers with the hopes of it reaching the governor's desk to be signed into law. And we follow the actual state process pretty closely with this one.
And then you have the courts, which is what I've been involved in for all 4 years. And you have trial courts for each grade level, and that's more like a traditional case like you'd see on TV. And then you have the appellate courts, which is, arguing constitutionality and things like that.
And then next is the executive branch. So we have a governor and lieutenant governor, and then a secretary of state and all of their staff. As mentioned before, this year I served as the governor's chief of staff, and they just make sure all the bills get signed and kind of keep track of those.
Okay, so there's not many pictures for National Issues Forum, so excuse the lack of pictures. But this is basically, it's a lot like legislative, but it's national. So when a bill or a proposal gets passed, it goes into effect for all of America. And it's typically a lot smaller too. And there's no separation between like grades, because there's like technically like upper ledge and lower ledge, but we're all chill and together in National Issues Forum, so.
And then Leadership Corps is another program, which is for 8th graders. And this is the first year we actually brought 8th graders to the program, which is pretty exciting. We brought 2. And what the Leadership Corps does is they kind of give the 8th graders a little taste of all the different program areas so that when they come back the next year, hopefully, they kind of have a better idea of what they're interested in. So they go through mock courts as well as a mock legislature.
And then 2 smaller areas are the media and the lobbyists. And the media, at YIG we have a daily newspaper and a TV show and a radio program. And lobbyists are like, they can be hired by a legislative person to lobby for their bill, obviously. And we don't really have too many people from New Prague that do that, but last year the media director was Alyssa Holthouse, a current senior, so that was pretty cool.
And then another thing that's awesome about the Youth and Government program is the leadership opportunities within it. New Prague this past conference had a really great representation within the leadership department. So I served in the executive branch, and at our Model United Nations conference, this will be my 2nd year as the president of the Human Rights Council. And you can obtain a leadership position through either an election, which is run between the 1,600 students in attendance, or you can file for an appointment and be selected by the student leaders. Oh, skip it.
So Model United Nations is like the 2nd program that's offered by Youth in Government. So what we've been talking about, which is the larger of the 2, is Model Assembly. But moving on to Model United Nations, just to talk briefly about it, you represent a country, so you sort of get like assigned from a list of countries that you choose. You get assigned one of them, and this year, me and 8 of my friends were lucky enough to be chosen to represent China, which is one of the top 5 countries that like are on the list and that can be picked. And so we're super lucky to have won the draw per se, and we get to represent them and China's beliefs at the conference. Okay, I'll start. So that picture is me and one of my best friends, Erica Goulson, and I believe we're at Model United Nations, and I do YIG. This is gonna sound bad, but I do YIG because I just like attract new friends, and it's like a black hole of friendship. We have a posse that we start with just our New Prague delegation, and we just take people from other delegations and other like committees, and it's so much fun. We have so much fun together. We eat like McDonald's and Taco Bell, and we discuss politics. It's really like there's no other place for like school or like really in the world for like a high school student where you can have an experience like that. We're like that.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Aiden said, just being able to make friends from other schools is super cool. Like, I hang out with my YIG friends outside of YIG, not as much as I'd like to because a lot of them live further north. Obviously, it's like an hour and a half drive up there, but that's like one of the best things about YIG for me, especially because I'm in courts, and courts is a little bit smaller than the legislature, and it's a lot more tight-knit. And then also one thing that I learned in YIG that is now really important to me is civil discourse, and that ended up being really important in my college search. So like I knew I wanted a school that wasn't too liberal or too conservative. I wanted there to be a really good, respectful dialogue there.
All right, and then for why I love youth in government, my picture on the slide shows a picture of me and my friend Jane, who's from Orono. She's one of my best friends, and what I think is really cool about this program is Jane and I have completely opposite political views. We're on both sides of the spectrum, and we're still able to be such close friends through this program, and we even talk about politics a lot. But we have been friends through the program for the past 3 years, and just like Jewel mentioned before with the civil discourse, there's such an opportunity to connect with people from across the state and just discuss things because we're all so passionate about whether it's the government itself or the issues presented to it. And then also, there's some other really cool opportunities that have been provided to me through Youth in Government. So I participate in both Model Assembly and Model United Nations. But in the summers, I also go to a third program called the Conference on National Affairs, which is the National Issues Forum that Aiden mentioned, but with students from all across the country. So I believe there's about 42 states represented in North Carolina where we debate issues and pass federal bills. And then also this past summer, I was able to go to the American Legion Auxiliary Girls Nation, which I was selected to go to from YIG, where I was able to meet people like Senator Klobuchar and Donald Trump, which are in the pictures. And next week, actually, I'll be in Washington, D.C. for the United States Senate Youth Program, which is another opportunity for me to meet leaders in D.C., which again was presented to me through Youth in Government. So it's just opened so many doors and helped me to become a more confident individual leader and really narrow in on my skills as a professional and just a more well-rounded person.
Questions?
Taylor, I know that this probably influenced your college choice, but if you want to share that with the rest of the board.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the fall, I will be attending New York University in London, in England.
Wow.
And without this program, I don't think I would have had the confidence in myself to apply to that school, let alone go to a school not in the country. So I'm really thankful for all the skills in sending in my application, as well as just, like I said, the confidence to submit the application and then be selected there. So I'm very excited for that.
I think it was Taylor, you mentioned that you were good friends with somebody who's on the opposite end of the, do you see at your level that you have a friend, or you see people that are on the opposite end of the political spectrum and they don't get along? Like you see, it does happen at your level
It
already
does
too.
happen. However, I think at Youth in Government, there's such a mentality of bipartisanship and just working together despite your differences. Like, for instance, my friend and I disagree a lot, and every once in a while we'll get into a little argument. But we know that we, especially as young people, have a same common goal and just have different ways of achieving it. So I think we're able to have more mature discussions in this environment where we can find solutions, even if it doesn't necessarily align 100% with our beliefs.
If I may comment on that, we have like a group chat of me and a bunch of my friends from Youth in Government, and we are everywhere on the spectrum. We cover pretty much everything. And just the other day, we had a really lengthy civil discussion about gun control. And it was genuinely like, if we didn't have that youth in government experience where we have been able to talk to other people about their beliefs and see others' viewpoints, then we wouldn't have been able to have a conversation that was as like, here, I see what you're believing, I see what you're saying, and this is my take on that, and this is what I believe. And it's just so like, I look around at my classmates who aren't in youth in government, sadly, and we're just, not to brag, but we're much farther ahead in the ability to have a conversation with somebody that we don't agree with. And
Maybe
I
you guys
think
need to teach a little workshop on that.
yes, we should.
Definitely a valuable skill today. So more people should join youth in government to work on that. But
I wish it was more prevalent.
Yeah, and then just to go off that, courts is like a little less overtly political than legislature or national issues forum, but it's still really important because you get to judge like both sides of a case throughout the weekend. So you do learn how to like discuss both sides of an issue, and it's just a little less overtly political. But there are some political things too, lots of First Amendment stuff, especially in the Court of Appeals.
Are you going to be a lawyer?
That may be in the future, possibly corporate law or patent law.
So your plans, you guys, I mean, you're only a sophomore, but
I have not picked a college yet. I'm waiting to hear back from University of Notre Dame and Washington and Lee University. And if I don't get into those two, I will probably be going to Trinity University in San Antonio.
yeah, and then like I said, I'll be attending New York University, and I hope to major in political science and international relations because youth in government has definitely shown me that this is a career path that I would like to take, and I think that government can be a very effective tool for change, so I'd like to work in that area.
I mean, I'm a sophomore, but because of youth in government, the idea of me being a politician or something like that is much more like realistic and something that I genuinely have an interest in. And so that's definitely changed the way I'm thinking about where I may want to go to college and what I might want to major in.
I just wanted to say it's very inspiring hearing you guys. Boy, I wish I was like 10 years younger, but no. And I what I hear in your voice and the passion you have, it's nice when you guys can come up here, and I thank Ms. Seiler for having you guys attend, and thanks for coming again, because I know you got canceled with this.
I want to just say too, I mean, it just shows you the value of the activities that we have, that we support, like Jen was talking about, Ms. Seiler. It's not just, some of our fine arts or our athletics, it's everything. And they learn, as you can hear them talk, what they've learned and how they represent New Prague schools. And I know one of our best basketball players went to youth in government, missed a game on a Friday night. And you know what? It's cool that the coach was fine with it, and that it was a great learning experience. So you got to have balance, and you guys, you always hear the bad things, and you worry about youth or whatever, but you can, these three here tonight, and we're going to have Annie up here in a second, it just shows you some of the great kids that we have, and they're going to do great things, and we're very proud of you, and can't say enough that you guys have done a great job.
Well, thank you for having us.
Okay, and if you could come around and shake the board member's hand, and then we get done at the end here. You can go on the inside if you want, either way. And then we got something for you.
Thank you.
It's just a sophomore. That's so cute.
Leading with that. That's so funny.
Wow, that was so cute.
You can come back for more.
Very nice.
I think Tony's going to introduce our next speaker.
Well, most people might be afraid to have to follow that presentation, but Annie Zwaber is a junior at the New Prague High School, and she's one tough cookie. She is the younger sister of 4 brothers, and wonderful young men, and she's following in their footsteps, and has really come up with a wonderful idea for our New Prague High School and community, to be very honest with you. And she's going to talk about people connecting with people. And she doesn't have a group. This is her vision. This is something that she has come up with on her own. And she is learning a wonderful experience in life and learning a lot with working with other people, high school administration, administration from within our district, kids, people in the community. She spoke at the New Prague Rotary and did a wonderful job there, and she's going to share tonight her vision for what I will call the first annual People Connecting with People. Annie?
So again, my name is Ann Zwaber, and I am a junior at New Prague High School, and I'm also a member of PROUD, which stands for People Respecting Others and Understanding Differences. And tonight I'm going to be talking to you about an event that I'm putting on for my school and our community called NPAS Culture Fair, NPAS Connecting Cultures, NPAS Culture Fair, excuse me. And so my goal of this event is to just try and open the minds and perspectives of the students, staff, and community members just to the cultures of all people here in our own community and throughout our world. And with the events that occurred last year at the high school, I felt that our school and community needed to start having the conversation more about what really is diversity and what cultures make up our New Prague community. And my vision of this event, to kind of put a picture in your head, is we're going to have booths set up throughout the cafeteria and the commons area in the high school. And some of these booths will include cultures of African Americans, Hispanic, Faith Club, and the Spanish and German clubs. And there will also be live music and food there to try as well. And the booths will be led all by students from the high school. And I'm also trying to currently work with some younger youth from our local elementary schools to be in the fair as well. And so this event will be held on March 15th during the school day so that students at the high school can participate in it, but also that night from 5:30 to 7 open to anyone in the community. And in preparation of this event, we really wanted to try and get more high schoolers involved and as many students as possible. So actually, last Thursday, we had a Culture Fair leadership team meeting, and we invited about 30 different students from various backgrounds to come discuss the culture that is within our school. And these students, they got to share their personal stories, and we tried to create some proactive solutions to how to make talking about diversity and our cultures more comfortable in our school. And we're actually going to continue to meet and have discussions, including our kickoff of the event being the Culture Fair, with the ultimate goal of supporting other events throughout our district and community. So I just want to thank you all for letting me come speak to you about this event. I'm so excited. It's been a lot of hard work, but I'm really excited to see how it plans out, and I really hope that I can all see you there on March 15th. So does anyone have any questions for me?
How many are in Proud? I was just curious.
We have as total, I think there's about 40 to 45.
Did they all take the polar plunge on Saturday?
No, not all of them. But there was actually, I think, our biggest group this year. Yeah, I think there was 20 of them actually. So it was a really good turnout.
Will you have any of the middle schoolers attend that fair during the day?
So since this year is the first ever culture fair, and I'm trying to kind of make it up as I go. I'm trying to do less is more is what I'm trying to keep telling myself. So that's why I'm focusing on just the high schoolers. And since Falcon Ridge is so close to us, that's why I picked that elementary school. And I'm hoping that next year I'm planning again to have this event, and I'm hoping that I can spread that to the middle school and the other elementary schools as well.
Annie, I was telling Tim before the meeting that last year I substitute counseling work at at Oak Grove in Bloomington, and it just so happened that they had their cultural fair during the day. That's when they have theirs. The other middle school has it during the day also, and I think the high school has theirs during the day as well. But anyway, the turnout was so great. Kids could come there during their passing time and during their lunchtime, and they really enjoyed it, and it's a fun activity. And I was telling him that I got to be the Czech representative for the cultural awareness at the fair on my stint at Oak Grove. So it's a fun activity, and I'm really happy that you took it on and that we're starting to do this here in New Prague.
Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I just want to say, on behalf of the board and myself, thank you for doing this. I think this is going to be a wonderful event and something that's needed, and just appreciate all the hard work. And she did I will say this, belonging to Rotary, Tony and I, very proud of her. Annie did a wonderful job at Rotary presenting, and the Rotary was very supportive of it.
I like your flyer, no
Thank
passport
you.
required, yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice
All
one.
right. So if you want to come up and
Yeah.
make your
Good
rounds
luck.
here.
Yes, thank you.
Anytime.
Lots of enthusiasm with
Hard
those
to-
kids, aren't
hard
there?
to ask
Man,
questions when it's pretty-
lots of enthusiasm with those
I
kids.
mean, I love how she's
Right,
got it
I
all.
mean, it's like-
So now we can move on to our less fun part of the meeting.
That's what I told her.
There we go.
Get a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any comments?
Snow will melt.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. Committee reports. Policy Committee, I know, has met since our last meeting.
We met on last Tuesday. Basically, all the policies we reviewed, just minor changes with MSBA, and we did have acceptance of gifts that we talked about. Gifts under 1,000 are acknowledged by schools with the thank you note. Therefore, it's recommended we continue with the practice of accepting donations of 1,000 or more by school board resolution. Anything else, we just had talked about it and verified that it was, other things were being acknowledged.
Good. And Denny?
Yes, we had our Southwest Metro Intermediate District meeting last Tuesday, and it was a good meeting. We had representation there from the Career Tech Education Department, and we had several students who spoke on the program that they were in. One was working on the health field area, another one was in the cosmetology, and another student spoke about their experience in the auto department. And they spoke very highly of the Career Tech Education Program at the Southwest Metro Intermediate District. We also had some business that we intended, that we took time to do, and that was we accepted several donations from several people. We did the final approval of the calendar for the upcoming school year, and we did the same resolution that we did here in our board. That was the resolution favoring a complete funding for special education on the state level and the federal level, the same resolution that we also had acted upon at our previous meeting. So, very good meeting, and that's it.
Did community ed?
In community ed, first of all, the next meeting will be March 8th, a Thursday at 6 o'clock. And we're always looking for new members that represent different things. that we're not covering, so if you know of anybody, send them. The booklet will be sent to the printer on March 9th and should be delivered by March 28th. Couple of events that worked out recently. A couple of you went to the Panorama of Bands last night, where the 5th grade band all the way through the senior band played some songs and played some together and did an amazing job in their presentation. In fact, to highlight the situation tonight, our floor hockey team was playing and the band came down and played the national anthem, which was the reason for the delay on the flag. And last Saturday was, or 2 Saturdays ago, was the fishing clinic. And again, this is an amazing use of facilities. It used the gym downstairs, used the community room, and there had to be put a limit on number of kids that came. So.
Did wellness, early childhood, didn't meet. All right, superintendent updates.
Yeah, just a couple things I was going to mention, like Don said about the Panorama concert yesterday at the high school, grades 5 through 12, a great event, annual basis that we do. Congratulations to our wrestling team going to state. We've got Brennan Rutt and Nick Novak. They both finished second place, so they'll advance to the state tournament, so we're very happy for them. And then Dan Wagner got voted section coach of the year, so great honor for Dan, and congratulations to him. So we got a very strong wrestling program that just keeps getting better and better. The other thing is I sent out a safety letter through our campus portal, so it went to all parents, went to all staff. Just obviously since the shooting in Florida and other things that have come up in Orono, I thought it was important to address what we're doing and the importance of school security. I think one thing too is, we're always looking at ways at doing things better, so we're closely monitoring it, and we've got a district security team that actually is going to be meeting next week and really looking at everything what we're doing, and whether it's the structure, the education, the training, taking a look at everything that we have in place, and obviously we want a safe environment. So sent that out and had a very positive response from parents and staff regarding that. So
I got a few calls from grandparents and people like that. Is there a way you can put this out and for them to see that, what you sent out, that response that you gave out, so the whole community knows what we're doing? Or
I guess I could send that same letter to the paper. Yeah, I'll send it to Chuck, and we'll get it in the New Prague Times.
Okay, good, thanks.
And we'll probably get reprinted in the USA Today. That's all I have.
All right. We have a couple things we need to approve tonight. First off, the high school band and choir trip. This was presented at our work session. It's a trip for the band and choir next spring break, so March 23rd through 27th, 2019, and it's a trip to New York.
I'll make the motion that we approve the band and choir trip.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I was going to say, I'm glad that they're combining the band and choir, like we were saying in the work session. It's nice that they're going to have it together.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. We have a couple approvals of agreements for employees.
Yes, I believe the red line version is attached in board docs in the executive section. We have two contracts for approval tonight. The first one is a technician contract. It is a contract that goes from July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2019. Basically, the technician contract was pretty simple. We had a few language cleanup things we always do, nothing significant there. We increased their 403B maximum. They had a very low lifetime maximum contribution, so we increased that to be more commensurate with other positions in the district. Insurance went up in the second year of the contract, the insurance contribution, 3% for the copay and $500 deductible plan, and 6% for those on the VIBA plan. They received a 2.5% increase in year 1 and year 2. And then because there's not a step system for the technicians, there were a couple of employees that were newer that we had to give a little additional, so we don't have such a wage disparity for new employees versus the ones that have been here for years. So, yeah, that's basically the change in the technician contract. Any questions on that contract?
I'm good.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract with the bus drivers.
No, the technicians.
The technician.
Yep,
I'll second
One
it.
step ahead of you.
okay.
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay.
Now we'll go on to the bus
Now we
driver.
got
Yes, the bus drivers.
Yes.
And I should say the technician contract only took 2 meetings, three meetings, I think, but they were very short and the process was very positive. And say with the transportation, we had several meetings with them. First of all, we had some language cleanup, some union language cleanup, some unusual things that were in our contract that they wanted to change, and we were fine with that. Insurance, again, it was the 3% and the 6% increase in year 2. We also added a family level for the bus drivers. Before they just had one level, but we added a family level. They received steps if they weren't at the top step, and then they received 40 cents in year 1 and 40 cents in year 2. The percentage range varied based on where they, what position they have and so forth. It was between probably 2.2 to 2.5%, depending upon what position they were and what step they were on. And then we also increased the extracurricular driving from 1325 to 1425. We are having a hard time getting extracurricular drivers. And so while they asked for a larger increase, we felt that, increasing it $1 an hour for the next 2 years was worth a try. So those are the changes to the transportation document. And again, the process was very respectful, very positive.
Is this kind of perfect timing because it's Wednesday Transportation Day in the state of Minnesota, or bus? I think that's the first time ever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Coincidental?
I will say this, these bus drivers, we have a wonderful
Right.
transportation. We have a lot of different areas, but the transportation, it's a difficult job, and
Great
Yeah.
record of safety, too.
great record of safety. We've got just a great team. Steve Trichka does a great job. We got mechanics that are great, and we're just proud of it. They take a lot of pride in their work.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I can't say enough good things.
We're lucky to have an in-house bus drivers like that. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Not sure a lot of us would like to be driving on some of those hills.
Well,
with the
people
winter.
always ask me, they think my job's stressful. I said, stress is being a bus driver having 70 kids behind you.
And icy roads.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the master agreement with the Transportation Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.